Hey, Rifters, welcome to the show. It's good to be back. Keith Reza with the one and only.
Alan Lee.
All right. He's getting faster, folks. He's getting faster. Alan, how you doing, buddy?
How you doing, buddy? Doing real good.
Yeah.
We've got a great guest coming on, and it's going to be great.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great, yeah. I have a couple upcoming shows I should plug. August 7th at the Rec Room with Dat Fam. 7 p.m., $20 tickets. And then August 14th at the Rec Room with House Sparks. 7 p.m., $20 tickets. And Alan, did I tell you I made the Burbank Comedy Festival?
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, so from August 15th through August 21st, I'm going to be at Flappers.
Very good.
Ticket prices vary, but tickets could be caught on www.flappers.com. And then the good date of 9/11, I'm going to be opening up for Ida Rodriguez at the Rec Room.
Wow.
Yeah. So stand-up's slowly coming back, Alan Lee.
You got it. Well, you're a busy guy already.
Yeah, you got anything coming up? Any dates you want to plug?
Nope.
All right.
On any dates, I don't like stand-up.
Oh, you're over stand-up?
I just. No, I'm not, fucker. The things on the fucking frying pan.
What the hell? Oh, okay, good, excellent. You're wearing two things of glasses. That's cool.
Well, like I said, I just haven't been able to get
in all seriousness, why do you wear two? Is it one for like seeing up close and one for the glare?
No, what it is that you just double the power, like that. And I can adjust it with different glasses. If I buy one pair, it'll last, but it can't be adjusted.
So it makes your vision way better when you wear two?
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Wow. I didn't know that.
150, I could have another at 160. That's 300 powers.
Wow. I didn't know that. It's very interesting. You learn something new every day, you know what I mean?
You did that when you used a telescope in science class.
Oh, that's true, huh? Wow. So did that give you the idea to wear two glasses, or did someone just tell you about that?
Yeah, that was that was part of the idea, but I was just desperate, and I just took two glasses off the rack. I said, "Well, I'll wear them both." And I said, "Damn, look at this! I can see a little period on a page 10 feet away. It's like a superhero. It's like a show. It's like American Gods. I became a god.
Holy Lord!
Yeah,
you brought up a show that we're going to talk about with our next guest.
A great show.
A great show.
Neil Gaiman.
Well, guys, you should subscribe, rate, and review right now because we are about to rift with Orlando Jones. You've seen Orlando in movies and TV shows like Sleepy Hollow, American Gods, The Replacements,
Mad TV.
And Mad TV, and one of my favorite films of all time, Runaway Jury with John Cusack. Enjoy! Raise the Risk with Orlando Jones coming up next. You ready, Alan Lee?
You got it.
All right.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.
All right. I just let him in.
Hey!
He's connecting.
I see that. Orlando Jones.
Is he there? It says he's connecting.
Yeah, he's right there on the screen.
I see him.
Hello, Orlando.
Hi, Orlando. Oh, he's putting headphones on. Oh, excellent. I love Zoom. Oh, man. You could tell Orlando about the 2 glasses thing.
Well,
I didn't know that. I thought that was pretty interesting.
you did. It's just because I'm too cheap to lose my pharmaceutical. I mean, not my pharmaceutical. My my regular glasses. So I get these 2 Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
Put them together, and I can focus.
I'm not making fun of you. I seriously did not know that. I thought that.
If you use a telescope in high school, you did this.
Oh, hey, Orlando.
Hey, Orlando.
Well, how is everybody?
Doing good. How are you, buddy?
No complaints, man. No complaints.
Thank you so much for agreeing to do Reza Riffs, man.
No worries.
So, Orlando, this is the trusty sidekick, Alan Lee.
What's happening, Alan?
What's happening, Orlando?
I can't call it, Pimpin'. What's going on with you?
Alan told me a very fascinating thing because he's wearing 2 glasses. And tell me if you've ever heard of this. Alan, tell him.
Listen, if you don't want to use your regular expensive glasses, you go to Dollar Tree and you get one. One is see, look, I can adjust the power. I have one's 99. They're both $1.
I see.
$2. I don't care if I lose these. Of course, look at this man. He's successful. You think, this is stupid. Forget it. Let's just get on with the interview.
No, because he was telling me it's like a theroscope when you look at stars and stuff. Like it doubles the power.
Listen,
really?
he's got superpower across his eyes.
There you
of
go.
course.
Yeah, Cyclops, a Marvel.
Hold on one second. My computer is dying. Let me just plug it in. One moment. I apologize.
No worries. No worries.
No worries. This guy, he's too much. He's fantastic. In fact, I have a question. It's going to be amazing. And then, wait a minute.
I kind of feel like I should wear my glasses now because all you guys are wearing our glasses.
Sometimes you don't. I don't know why you do or don't. You don't need them. You're lucky.
I need them when I drive.
Okay.
Like, bad.
All right.
But
well, no worries. Bangkok dangerous.
All righty.
All right, we're ready to rock and roll.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right, Orlando. So a lot of folks, they didn't know that you wrote on the Sinbad show when you first started. How was that?
You know what? I think writing gigs are always what they are. I mean, I think it's hilarious that people just discovered I've been in the Writers Guild for 35 years. I mean, it's like, I guess if that's a new revelation, it's funny to me. It's certainly not a revelation to the Writers Guild. Sinbad was, he was really hot at the time.
Yeah.
So, and what I remember that made me laugh the most about it is Sinbad did this movie, this Western. It was like a touch-tone Buena Vista.
It's like picture. The Cherokee Kid or something, right?
That's right. That's right. And the movie made money.
Mm-hmm.
And no one thought it would. Everybody was kind of like, whatever. And the movie made money. And, and it's a funny, goofy movie. It works in an interesting kind of crazy way. But that suddenly meant he was a movie star.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And then
so now if you can imagine a time
to a movie star.
Right. So if you can imagine a time when Sinbad is a movie star, but he has a television deal and he'd rather pursue the movie thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But he also is making this much money now because he has a network television show doing stand-up. So he can make more on a stage in an hour than he can do anything else.
Yeah.
So that's what he was trying to juggle while I was writing his show.
So like, how is that? Because like, then you went into acting. So the writing, did that open a door for you to get into acting, or were you always acting on the side?
No, I mean, I had an advertising agency when I was 18 years old that I started in that production company. I wrote, produced, and was on camera. And then when I went out to Hollywood, my job was as a writer. So then I wrote and produced stuff, various shows, pilots and what have you, from, Martin to, Colin Quinn and Mario Joiners to, the Ben Stiller pilot with Judd Apatow and that sort of stuff. And then I think when we were launching FX network, we were developing what people now call reality television. It didn't exist at the time. And that was me and Tom Bergeron and Jeff Probst and Phil Kogan. And we launched FX out of New York. So we were launching a cable channel. And so, I left there and went to Mad TV as a writer performer, right? So
where you were Artie Lang's roommate.
He came to live with me after, sort of the madness happened. Yeah. That's my dude, man. He had a rough ride, and but that's my brother for sure.
The guy I opened for Norm Macdonald, so him and Artie are like good friends. And
yeah,
Norm
they did a
was
movie together back in the day.
Yeah, Norm was like, ask Orlando about Artie. I was like, all right.
Listen, we were doing Mad TV. So, I mean, that's kind of the funny part, right? So Mad TV was sort of launching all these careers for people, but I'd already been in the business and produced, 100 episodes of television and pilots and everything. But the funny part is when you're an actor, everybody talks to you with that actor voice, but they forget that I've been a successful writer producer.
Yeah.
So when they start that, the actor talk, it was kind of hilarious because I'm like, who the fuck are you talking to? I'm in the room with the studio and the network. Like, I have all of the information. Like, this bullshit you're saying right now is not what's going on right now. Like, you're not even close to telling me the truth right now. You think okay, whatever. Fucking hilarious, dude. So that was kind of the funniest part. And Artie, look, the crazy meltdown that everybody wants to talk about is when we were doing this sketch called Babe Watch.
Okay.
It's Babe the pig in Baywatch.
Yeah.
And Artie is playing Babe the pig.
Yeah.
Now, Artie's already a big dude, but your fucking self-esteem cannot be feeling great when you got like 12 teats and a pig costume.
Yeah.
Right? Cut to, we're on the PCH in a Sebring convertible in bumper to bumper traffic, trying to get back to set. Artie's in the pig outfit. I'm in the Baywatch outfit, the red shorts, playing the hot guy thing. And my dude is snorting cocaine off the dashboard, but with the pig nose hanging off to the side. But we in bumper to bumper traffic, so it ain't like everybody can't see what's going on.
Right.
So now this bender lasts all through the fucking day. We get back to the hotel and we're staying in this flea bag motel. It's close to Zuma Beach because that's Mad TV. We ain't got no money. We're doing these sketches for a nickel, right?
Yeah.
All the money was spent on the film crew.
Yeah.
So I wake up in the morning in the hotel room. I'm sharing a room with Herman and Artie. And when I wake up, it smells like I woke up in a bucket of shit. I'm the most putrid. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I hear the following. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. Housekeeping. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Right.
So I'm now trying to, I look at the time. I'm late. Artie's gone. David Herman is gone. I find the force of the stench when I get to the bed and pull it back. And Mr. Coke Bench has taken a shit in the bed.
Oh.
Covered it up, got up, and walked out. At some point, that jackass Herman also left, and I'm passed out asleep from babysitting this motherfucker all night long, and Herman's drunk off his fucking ass, and they left me in the shit room. Bump, 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 bump. Housekeeping. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm about to get blamed for the shit. I take my bag, I throw it out the second floor window. It hits an embankment and rolls down the little hill. I now am hanging off the second floor embankment, trying to get my foot on the railing down beneath. I take the shot as I hear the housekeeper come in the door. Oh, it's Demille. What is going on in here? I let go. I flip backwards, boom, hit that band hill, roll down through a couple of cactuses, get fucked up. Jump in the car, the Chrysler Sebring we rented, get my ass to set to find Herman and this motherfucker drinking whiskey in the lifeguard stand. Artie's still on the fucking bender. They are laughing their asses off. So
you almost got punked.
Dude, let me tell you, I have crazy memories, but let me just say this for the record. Artie Lang is one of the funniest humans I've ever met in my entire life. And he has the biggest heart of anyone I know, and I love him. That's my brother, but we have some fun, crazy times together. So, now imagine, remember on Mad TV, I'm the only cast member that's in the writing room. Okay. So that means that all the shit the writers talk, I know about all of it, but I can't give up any information about what's going on with the cast. So all you can do is sit there, but everybody know what the fuck is really going on, but all you do is go, because you can't say anything. So it was, a year of that. And that was when I was like, okay, I'm sorry, 2 years of that. And then second season, I was the first cast member to leave, but I could leave because they broke the deal in my contract because they didn't want to pay me as a writer anymore. So they had to void my deal. And that's why I was able to leave. And then they tortured Nicole Sullivan and everyone else who tried to leave the show.
So you left before you got tortured. So that's...
Well, they couldn't torture me because I had a writing deal and I had an acting deal. Nobody else had one. So if you didn't want me to write anymore, that meant you had to fire me entirely from the show.
Oh, that sucks.
And they did. And then they asked me if I would do season 2. And my agreement was, I'll do it as long as it's fun. But as soon as this becomes some bullshit, I'm just going to go my separate way because I don't want to fight with you. Yeah. So in season 2, we got into a fight with one another about some silliness. And I was like, see, I don't want to fight. I don't like to fight. So I'm going to go my way, and let you guys do your thing. And we agreed, and, everything ended wonderfully for me. So I had no beef with it. But everybody else who was on the show, all I heard about was their nightmare. And they were like, how did you get out? And I was like, I had a writing and, I wasn't just, they didn't discover me as talent.
Yeah.
Certainly not on the writing side, but they did give me a platform to do sketches and comedy, but I wasn't a stand-up comedian. So for me, they gave me the platform to do something that normally only stand-ups get.
But now you do stand-up though, because I've seen you do stand-up.
Yeah. No, I yes, true. But my point is, at the time, I did see. Here's the thing, dude.
I was like, I know I've seen you.
I didn't start doing stand-up until 2007, 2006.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I was writing for stand-ups in 1993.
Yeah.
And I was writing shows for, So
you've always had that stand-up voice, though.
Well, because I've written for stand-up since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
So because I was writing for stand-ups, that was the case. But I also had a job in Hollywood by the time I was 20. And then I was writing on A Different World, and I was writing on Martin. And so Martin's a stand-up. I was writing his show, but I was not writing him as a stand-up. I was writing him as Martin on a television show.
Yeah.
Right. So It's a completely different thing. Right. So for me, it was, the odd part was always, and comedians used to be really pissed because they'd be like, where the fuck did this dude come from? Because they're like, he didn't spend 15 years in the comedy club the way every other comedian that spent 15 years in the comedy club to get to do movies and television.
Right.
I did not spend 15 years in a comedy club. I had an advertising agency, then went out and was a writer producer, and then, did workshop reality television, then did a sketch comedy show. And then I went into that. So my path was entirely different.
Would you say, because that's actually a pretty smart path for comics to do, advertising in a way? Would you say that was that really helped your game?
Well, I had a business that wasn't connected to Hollywood. I mean, it was simple. I had clients, you know what I mean? So, and I did an ad for Food Lion or McDonald's or Mazda or whomever. There was no agent involved. That was my business, and so writing that ad and that copy and all of the work that went along with that was just what my company did, right?
Yeah.
I just was also acting at the same time that all of that was going on, right? But I was a kid.
Yeah.
So, it was more that I had the ability to do these different things. And so I did them, and the sides never talk to each other. People in the television business don't talk to the commercial business.
Oh, that's
And
interesting.
people in the movie business don't talk to people in the TV business, just like they don't talk to people in the gaming business. They're all separate businesses.
Yeah.
So there's no crossover. So for me, the weirdness has always been is like, I'm in all of these businesses as a storyteller talent.
Yeah.
But when you get famous, people only talk to you about one, which is the acting side, because they don't realize all the other stuff is going on.
Yeah. There's a
Right?
lot of stuff behind the scenes, you know?
Well, it's the real job, which is the creative work, right?
Yeah.
And
It's kind
then
of like when you see the credits on a show or a movie, you know, you see the cast, but you also see the crew. It's like 4 times as long. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, it takes a village to, you know, unlike, you know, with music, you can get, you know, 2 people, 3 people in a studio or in a bedroom, and you can do it, right? With Hollywood for a long time, you needed 150, 200 people, and, you know, you still needed, you know, certain components to do the post process, right?
Yeah.
That has changed a lot if you look at content on YouTube today, because they're doing premium stuff and it doesn't cost the same much amount, but that's technology.
Now that was another question, because like when you were starting and stuff, YouTube wasn't really around. It was more about like your reel and your talent and stuff. Do you think like now YouTube kind of kills artists or it helps them?
Look, I see it the following way. In the consulting side of my business, I was, you know, making content for digital and broadcast in 2005. So at that time, I was pretty much alone in the space. The simple truth of the matter is there are fewer companies. There's a smaller number of companies that do this. And all of these companies are the result of a larger company taking over another company. So you are very far removed from what Hollywood once was, right?
Right.
Yeah.
When you say Comcast bought NBC Universal, last I checked, it was NBC that made the television shows and Universal that made the movies. But if the executives from Comcast bought it and took it over, that means everybody in those posts now are not native storytellers who don't really know as much as all those other people knew about the movie or the television business, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's a parks business sitting in the middle of that, right?
Wow.
All right, so what does the Comcast cable folks know about those 3 businesses I just named for you? Well, they're now in charge of it, right?
Wow.
So what you've seen is that started to happen across the business, but you have to remember there are only 3 business models. Movies is the banking business. Half the money makes the movie go. Television is the advertising business. That's been the way it's been forever until the platform business came in, but that's a monthly subscription business. No different than your cable bill, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So now you have your OTT business, as they were, the over-the-top service, or your, you know, app business. And so what you're watching now is all the big companies that's taken over the smaller companies. You're watching content pop from platform to platform. It's on Hulu, it's on Netflix. And all that's happening now is that whomever bought that library now wants you to access that content from their app, where you pay them directly X number of dollars a month. And all the old deals are closing. And that's why the content is bouncing around. But ultimately, anything in the 20th library is going to be on Disney Plus's app, because Disney Plus bought 20th.
And they own pretty much everything too.
They do, but, you know, NBC Universal also owns the core pipelines and also has a tremendous library. And Amazon just bought the old MGM library. So these libraries are going to be scattered around, and you're going to see them in various places. And Netflix is making a bunch of content, so they're not so reliant on everyone else's library.
Right.
So that's all you're watching right now, right? There's not enough time in the day to watch all the stuff that's being made, but all the businesses need the content to feed the truth of their bottom lines. So that's where we are right now. So you're seeing the price of actors being driven down, but the price of creating content and franchises is going to be where the real future of the business is. And creating that relationship directly with the audience. Because if I got 100,000 people paying me $5.99, what do I care about what else you're talking about?
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Right? $5.99 a month, I'm good. I don't need millions and millions of people. If you had 10,000 subscribers that are willing to pay you $5 every 4 months,
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's a $300,000 a year business direct to your pocket with a 30% off the top coming from an Apple or some subscriber. That's $270,000 in your pocket. That's a real
I'll never
business
have to
with
do
2,000
stand-up again.
subscribers. That's exactly right. So
Orlando.
that's the new world. That's where we really live now in the content business. The power sort of exists in your hands to not be reliant on Hollywood in the same way that you once were.
Yeah. Orlando, when you say franchise, could that be interpreted as like if you have a show that you put together and then you just get subscribers directly, that's your franchise, right? Those people pay.
Absolutely,
I know that sounds like
absolutely.
a simple question, but to clarify that, it's,
Look,
very
if you
well.
want to take a step back and say Seth MacFarlane was a guy who had some funny ideas. He had this idea to do this show called Family Guy. He created that show. He
Okay.
started making those animated assets. Then it became Family Guy, not just a television show, but merchandise and gaming contracts and all sorts of other ancillary revenue that's made, even when they're not making Family Guy. A check's still coming in the door, like with Batman, like with Marvel franchises, like with DC franchises, like with Platinum Universe franchises. So whenever you're creating something, you make the thing. If it becomes successful, the audience tends to tell you how they would like to see that thing iterate.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, all that's the creation of a franchise. That intellectual property now is a franchise. That's a complete business. That's a 360 business there if you really look at it. So if you've got 10,000 people who love what you're doing, who are willing to pay X number of dollars, why do you need millions?
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
I mean, in order to survive, you can, in effect, become a storyteller with an audience, and you can grow that audience because if they really like you, they'll tell their friends to come check you out. So getting to 20,000 isn't as hard as one might think. So when you really think about storytelling and content and the tools that are available to you today, you can decide, what type of storyteller you want to be. And if you want to try and create something with the tools you have in front of you, just like Robert Rodriguez did when he made El Mariachi for $7,000. I'm not talking about anything new.
That's a great example. That explained it right there.
Nothing new is being discussed here. I'm simply saying that there are no gatekeepers anymore. That world is long gone. You are famous and fame, like no one's going to do what Michael Jackson did. No one's going to sell 45 million discs anymore.
Right.
Because who is buying a disc? Okay, so that the idea of making all that money from selling 45 million of these things for $10 or better is gone.
Yeah. It's
Right?
all on Spotify too.
It's Spotify, it's YouTube music, but it's music primarily being launched from television, from Idol, from X Factor, from Got Talent. All those artists signed to contracts, all touring, all those franchises globally creating artists that are all famous within a certain region, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's an entire business driven on creating a music venture, ultimately, where you find these stars and then monetize these stars because you found them and you made them, now you own them.
Yeah.
Kelly Clarkson, Fantasia, what have you. So Carrie Underwood. So I point this out to say that's the music business now, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so there we go, right? So when you say, 40 Michael Jackson selling CDs, they bear no relation to what we're talking about, right?
Either way, Michael Jackson's still gonna stay rich for being dead. You know what I mean? Like he's still gonna
Michael Jackson was smart in his business. He bought the Beatles catalog.
He did.
So Michael Jackson wasn't just an astonishing talent as an artist. Michael Jackson also was an astonishing businessman, as was his father, who built that entire franchise. People act like that didn't happen, but he's an extraordinarily smart man. I mean, at the end of the day, he got the Beatles catalog.
Yeah. So
It's crazy.
I wanted to ask a question about writing technique in your perspective, because I take script writing, and my teacher told me, like, when you write scripts, you write for actors in mind, even though they're not necessarily going to read it or whatever. Like, it helps you build the story. Do you ever use that technique, or like how do you get into it?
Look, that's why I think diversity casting is so funny.
Yeah.
Because every writer sits down with something in their head. I mean, it could be a composite of a bunch of different people. Is that not what the gaming industry does? Go grab this, kind of make a composite off of this character based on this, this, and this. So to use these attributes from previous characters that they light and build a prototype by which they drop into a game, right? Everybody does some version of that in their character creation, right? They think of something, it's an aunt, it's an uncle, it's something they saw, it's something that tweaked, whatever it is, you use something as your source material for what it is that you're starting to put into creation. But the truth of the matter is it's a collaborative process, as I said. So as the casting director, as the studio, as the network, as other writers, as other creators get involved, that vision is going to have to change and shift. But someone has to be there to at least hold down an understanding of what the core vision was. But that's very difficult to do when someone else is funding for and paying for your vision. Right. So yes, that process happens, but but that process is not the final process.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying? Because at the point at which you give it to fans decide what they liked and what they responded to and what was important to them and what wasn't important to them. And they don't care what you thought.
Yeah.
So when fans decide that this character is a fan favorite, and as a writer, I start to write towards that character because it's not my story anymore. It belongs to all of us now.
Exactly. Yeah.
And what goes wrong with all these shows very often is the person had a very particular vision in their head as the storyteller, and they're not willing to give up their vision. So they keep trying to force their vision down the throat of the audience who is interested in something else in their vision.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of fan favorites, you've been on two TV shows that actually 3 because I loved you in Rules of Engagement, but fan favorites, Sleepy Hollow and American Gods. So you were a fan favorite.
Yeah.
So
well, and look, and it was weird to be in the position of having, on some level, to be defending the studio and the network because, all of the academic fans that we're calling them racist. Because they were saying, because the show because in season 1, the show was very diverse, right? It was super fun. It was crazy. It was a fun ride. It was super diverse. Yeah. And in season 2, you were suddenly following Ichabod Crane's family. And in season 1, those were not characters that you cared about or followed.
Yeah.
So after having this massive season, and it's the biggest show Fox has had since 24, the fans were like, why are you now talking to me about Ichabod Crane's family? What happened to the show I was watching?
Yeah.
Right. And that's totally legitimate. But if you're the studio, you go, well, I bought Sleepy Hollow and Ichabod Crane's the star of Sleepy Hollow. So we're going to follow Ichabod Crane's family.
Yeah.
You're paying no attention to what the fans are watching.
Yeah.
Right. So it's that juxtaposition, the difference between how the business saw it, how the business perceived it through its own blinders, and how the audience saw it. And that collision happens on a regular basis. I've been a part of that collision many times, but I'm not the only one or special in that regard. And you totally can see the situations where it gets embraced. And you can totally see the situations where they try and shut it down. And now more often than not, the show implodes.
Yeah.
Right.
So my dad just texted me and he said, make sure you tell Orlando thank you for Drumline.
Oh man, what a fun one. Thank Dallas Austin for Drumline. Really. I was happy to bring his story to life. Really. That's his life story, actually.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. Dallas Austin's a famous music producer out of Atlanta. And when he was in high school, he, as a freshman, was beating all of the seniors because his brothers were all a part of that drum line. So he knew all the cadences and he was a musical prodigy. So we moved the story from high school to college, and Nick Cannon is basically playing Dallas Austin, super producer.
Oh.
And for me, I was just wanting to tell a story about integrity, because otherwise it's kind of, on the van, off the van, on the van, off the van, drum battle, but what's it about? So for me, it's just about choices and integrity and not doing those movies, because the studio really wanted me to do like Officer and a Gentleman,
right.
Where you're yelling at the guy, mayonnaise, they wanted that whole thing. And I was like, that seems weird to me to do like the guy who's perfect, who's yelling at the guy. I'd rather do the guy who's real, who fucked up himself, and who's like, yo, I don't have all the answers, but I know this seems more right than this. Make a choice, young man. I wanted to tell that type of story. Unfortunately, they let me do it. So I was happy about that one. And then, Zoe and Nick were able to really use that as a launching pad to the careers they had. So nothing made me happier than that, because, love Zoe and love Nick.
And then the question I had for you is, are you sick of the song "I Will Survive"?
I mean, at first I was afraid. I mean, I was petrified. No, not thinking I could really ever live without it by my side. And then I spent some, weird nights thinking how it did me wrong. And I grew strong, and I learned how to, get over questions and move along. And now I'm back, from fucking outer space. I just came here to do this interview so I could see this look upon your face. I mean, I should have left the interview, and I should have made you laugh and pee if I'd known in 1 second that's the shit you was gonna ask me. Go on now, go. Let's walk out a door, and let's turn this around now. Because I hope I'm still welcome. I may not be anymore. Weren't you the one that asked me this shit about "I Will Survive"? You thought I'd crumble? You thought I'd lay down and die? Oh no, not I.
We asked Fajon Love that same question. He's like, I was sick of that song that day.
Oh, listen, nobody wanted to do that scene. Okay, nobody.
Yeah.
That scene was me pulling teeth. Is what that scene was. And I had the fucking flu.
Yeah.
So literally, I remember I was completely hoarse. I had the flu. I took a couple of shots of NyQuil. I went to bed. I woke up. I still felt like shit. I got there. The choreographer, who shall remain nameless, I think was on a coke binge the night before or something. There was no choreography. I had never seen her before, but apparently she was the choreographer. Right. I don't know where this lady came from. And she started doing, like, I don't know what she was doing. And everybody in the scene, and it's the entire cast, basically goes, fuck that. And they go sit down in the jail scene.
Yeah.
And they're looking at me like, what are you going to do? And I'm like, you motherfuckers. Holy shit. So I say to him, I you know what? Not everybody knows any fucking dance.
Right.
So it's going to have to be the electric slide, because it's the dance everybody makes you do at every fucking wedding.
Yeah. And it's the easiest one to learn too.
So I was like, and it's one that if somebody else is doing it, you can at least get in and shuffle yourself back and forth and not look like a complete jackass,
right.
Which is all Keanu. That's all Keanu cared about. Keanu was like, I don't want to do this dumb shit at all. I don't like this dumb ass fucking scene. And I'm sit over here, have fun, Orlando. And hold on. Are we ready? All right. And action, rolling, action. And you watched me pull people up into the electric slide.
Yeah.
Singing "I Will Survive."
I thought that was the best scene, though. Like, it was funny. It brought everyone together. I was cracking up.
Look, that was the problem they had. The problem was the scene worked.
Yeah.
And now we were out on a press tour, and everybody's asking them about this fucking scene in this song, and they hate the song and they hate the scene. And the scene was an add-on. It wasn't in the original script.
Yeah.
Mark Steven Johnson came in and did a pass on the script before he became, the guy at Marvel.
Right.
And he added that scene for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's where that scene came from. So kudos to them. For him as a storyteller, you got to give the guy credit, and that's where Jon Favreau's Marvel contact came from, because Mark Steven Johnson was there on the scene working. Oh man, that's how all that happened.
Wow. So you could be an Iron Man 6 or something in the future, right?
Fav has told me, or rather, Faison has told me that Fav had wanted me to do, I think, Cheadle's role in it. Terrence Howard's role in it. at one point, and who knows that I certainly didn't hear about that, but Faison and John are really close because of placements, obviously. So look, man, I have great memories of that movie, man, and the time, and the cast was extraordinary. I don't care what anybody says. That cast was fucking, I mean,
funny.
You know, I'm proud of the movie. I'm proud of how it kind of managed to find its audience and stand the test of time. And they've made 1,000 football movies since then with Adam Sandler and all these other people, but somehow the replacements, you know, still manages to kind of hit people in the heart in a way that's special. So, I mean, I love the movie because I had a ball with Favreau and Faison and, you know, Keanu and David Denman and, you know, Michael Jace, you know, an incredible brother. I mean, just, it was just a great time, man. I have fun. The joke I tell now is people always come up to me and they talk about the scene where I'm saying, Coach, it looks like I just jacked off an elephant.
Yeah, where they put the glue on your hands.
Right. So, obviously, it wasn't in the script, right? So, Clifford Franklin stuff, like the one man cold. I'm the only one catching it because I'm the only one coming down with it. It was me, writing shit and putting it in the movie. So I've been doing that for so long because none of that stuff was in the movie. I hated the ones they cut out. The shit where he's at the line and he's like, "I'm gonna call you Chili because I'm about to eat that ass up." And then he takes off, runs a slant pattern, they throw the pass, and he drops it. And then he walks back in and lines up against the same guy.
My favorite is like when you're like, after the game, can I get your autograph? He's like, "You what? You got it." You're like, "Oh, I'm going to hold you to that."
Oh, yeah. Dude, my favorite is seeing a guy get off of a bus to a protest who doesn't even have luggage. He has a box with twine wrapped around it.
Yeah.
That's who he is when he arrives at the NFL. The next one game win later, he is talking about himself in the third person, like Karl Malone back in the day. And that was my favorite part about it, is watching that journey, right? Somebody get success and watch it immediately go to their head and kind of how they become.
I want to respect your time, but I do have 3 more questions. Is it okay if I snag these?
Sure. Go right ahead.
Okay. I wanted to talk about the Orlando Jones show. That was your talk show.
Okay.
How is that? Because I know it only lasted a season, but like the format was really cool. It had the couches, a studio audience, and Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah, it was a fun one. I got thrown a really interesting challenge, man. I think I literally just finished Drumline, and then I think I was just doing Biker Boys with my buddy Reggie Bythewood and Lawrence Fishburne, and when they were like, "Hey, we'd love for you to create a talk show," and I was like, "I really don't want to do it," and they were like, "It would be incredible." So they set up this meeting with Peter Chernin, and I go over there, and suddenly I got to pitch, the big boss under Rupert Murdoch, what late night would look like. And I'm like, "Look, I'm going to design a set, but I think ultimately it should feel like you're in late night."
Right.
And, and it should be irreverent. Like everything, it all feels like I'm watching my grandparents' television show in late night. It's all the desk with the sofa and they all ask the right type of questions. You know what I mean? So I was like, I wanted to do something that felt more like I was really pushing the envelope, and they said yes. And then they were like, "Look, we had a disaster with Chevy Chase last time, so we're going to put you on FX, and then you can show us what the show is." And I'm like, "Yeah, but FX has no shows."
Yeah.
I mean, I think they just had gotten The Shield, so my lead-in was going to be like an infomercial.
Right.
and they were like, "Show us what the show is." So I got together with Dallas Austin, was the guy, and DJ Ruckus, who's now one of the top DJs in the world. Grabbed them, and they became my music sort of thing. And we put Kanye on. It was his first television performance on the show. We put David Banner on. We put Maroon 5 on. All of those bands got their television break on the show. So we pushed the envelope as hard as we could, and then they were like, "You guys don't have a big audience, so we can't move you over to Fox." And we were like, "My lead-in is an infomercial on FX that has one show. What do you mean I don't have a big audience? You haven't marketed the show at all. It's not my fault that the audience isn't huge. An audience is showing up after an infomercial to watch my show.
Yeah.
With no marketing. And it's my fault that only 500,000 people are coming. You only have 1 million coming to watch your hit show.
Right.
And they were like, well, you see, and I was like, you know what? Let me go back to the movie television. I'll go write and produce stuff over here. Thank goodness I kept my advertising, and marketing business the entire time. So I would always be like, you know what? I'm going to go do this. I'll see you guys later. So yeah, that was the Orlando Jones show. But what an incredible time, man. I got to work with some really creative geniuses. Tommy Blancha, who did all the crazy hit shows on Adult Swim, was my head writer.
Wow. There you go.
Ali Leroy, who went on to create Everybody Hates Chris, was making and directing all the content. He became a director writer on the show. So, the guy who went and ran Wanda Sykes' show was my showrunner, Eddie Feldman. So the team of people that came off of it, and then the stuff that we went on to do, man, is, I was proud of that team, man. We did some fun shit together.
Oh, that's awesome. And then so my second question is, you have experience of what it's like being the guy, being the sidekick, and then being a guy who just shows up for a scene. How do you transition to each of those different roles? Does it depend on the script, or does it just depend on the views that you're storytelling it?
I think for me, it's always, I've never wanted to be doing the same thing over and over again. I've always wanted to create characters that people responded to. And I've always sort of taken a pride, particularly coming off a show like Mad TV, and having you not necessarily even recognize me sometimes, where you're like, that's who that was. Oh, got it. And in order to do that, people have to not know when you're going to pop up.
Yeah.
And that means you kind of have to choose based on the opportunities that allow you to create the type of characters that you want to create. So, I'm a firm believer that there are no small roles, nor are there any small actors. Even if you're looking at the slave ship on American Gods, that scene doesn't work without the work of Confidence, who plays the slave praying to Anansi. It is the beauty and the tone of his voice and his prayer and the way he sets that stage that helps Anansi shine. You can't pull them apart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like telling your favorite song, and we're going to get rid of the bass line and the guitar, but this part right here, you know what I mean? It's like, it's all a part of it. So that's kind of how I think of it. So it doesn't matter if it's my boy David Duchovny and he's calling me because he's like, yo, fam, I want you to come do House of D, and it's a small role, but I want it to be this, and I'm like, all right, you want me to come play this pimp with Erykah Badu, okay? But I also know that's not who David Duchovny is, right? So he doesn't see me in that capacity, right? So I'm like, yo, man, okay, sure. Let's, I got a day I can give you. I mean, I don't have a week I can give you, or 2 weeks, unless you've written something worth my time. But do I have a day or I can give you? Yeah, I'll come play with you and Robin Williams, and we'll have a great time. Yeah. And I want to meet Robin anyway. So, and it's all love, Dave. You know what I mean? So, so for me, that's what that's like, and I kind of have had the ability to build those type of relationships with showrunners, where I popped up on shows because me and the showrunner or the writers and I knew each other from, whatever we did together. Or sometimes me and an actor like Jennifer Love Hewitt and I met because we hosted the Pro Bowl for the NFL.
Yeah.
And then we became friends, and then I met her family and that whole thing. So, we hung out. So, you kind of meet people through the process, and, because you had a, cool time, they're like, hey, will you come do this or that? And you find yourself, doing interesting, crazy things like that. So that's always been fun for me.
And then my last question for you is, if you could remake any of the movies or shows that you've done with the same script, but different choices, what would it be?
Oh, wow. I really try not to second guess my choices, man, because I made different choices on different takes, and you're seeing what the editor wanted you to see, not necessarily what I wanted you to see. And I don't have any control over that.
Yeah.
So as an actor, I try and be true only to the moment, right? Because the moment is the thing I have control over.
Yeah.
Everything else doesn't belong to me, but the moment, that's mine. And so I really put my energy there, and take a step back and allow the director, the producers, the storytellers who are hopefully guiding me through the process, right? To do what they do. But let me just put this caveat on it. It's so important to understand how messed up the process is while you're trying to achieve that goal.
Right.
Because like you said, you have something in mind when you're writing.
Yeah.
So when they were writing Evolution, they weren't thinking that it was going to be a black guy and a white guy. They were thinking of two white guys.
That movie's awesome though.
But then you cast a black guy in the role, right? But the responsibility to make that character come to life and for that character to seem culturally relevant, real, in order for black people to see it and go, I recognize that black guy, right? Right?
Yeah.
No one ever did a pass on the script to make that part happen. Every actor of color, every female, you see roles where they flipped it from a guy to a girl, but women are entirely different creatures, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
right? So the way they would approach something might not be at all in the same viewpoint as the way a man was, because there's no female storyteller involved in the game in the first place. Then that female character just is kind of a prop, because no one ever came in and made that character come to life, right?
Yeah.
That got dropped off to that female actress to make you like her without really any help. And so I want to point that out, because there's always that part of it that feels that way, but trying to create characters in that type of space and work with people, that only happens because you and your other castmates and other people kind of get involved and help that process come to life, right?
Yeah.
And when you see that happen with somebody like Duchovny and Julianne Moore and Sean William Scott and Dan Aykroyd and all the people who are just having fun together with each other on Evolution, the movie starts to take on a life of its own no matter what, because of what's happening amongst the artists. And so I really want to circle that, because it's that experience, no matter what the final product was, it is that fucking experience that I remain grateful for and happy about, and that on every project I'm happy I had, because I've never went into a project and had a shit time with any of those people.
Yeah.
Like ever. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have a bad time with Tom Cruise on Magnolia or John C. Reilly. I mean, we had a great time. So, you know, those late nights and the crazy stuff, I mean, you know, is the stuff I live for, man. So it's been an incredible journey, man. I'm just super grateful, man. Thank you for the time and the questions.
All right. Alan, you got any last second things to say to Orlando?
On the same note, which has been very helpful to me, that Orlando is referring to ensemble and improv, that whole group of people melding together. I was just want to ask him personally, did you come to a certain level in performing? Like, did you have an acting coach at any point, or was it a mishmash of your own talent and working in ensembles, where you just, etched out yourself through working in that way with improvs and ensemble? Or did you have training sometimes earlier on? We're always looking for acting teachers. I am one acting teacher after another. What?
I never had an acting coach. That
Sure.
For me, it didn't start that way. To be really honest with you, man,
tell me.
I had a teacher. Her name was Gladys Robertson.
Okay.
And she taught public speaking.
Okay.
And she was the first teacher that cursed at me.
Wow.
And it got my attention because she did. And she got me to join the debate team. And I was doing dramatic and humorous interpretation. So I was doing things like the Butter Battle book by Dr. Seuss, or I was doing Nigger by Dick Gregory. I was performing these pieces, right?
Sure.
And the work of creating all the characters and doing that work was extremely beneficial in the process. And then as I started writing, I quickly understood that what's funny coming out of my mouth ain't funny coming out of your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So it was having really writing mentors. I had giants, you know what I mean? I got to sit at the feet of Jim Burrows, you know, responsible for directing and making Taxi, you know what I mean? I got to sit at the feet of, you know, really talented storytellers, writers, and producers. You know, remember, if it wasn't for Bill Cosby, I wouldn't have been on A Different World with Susan Fales and Debbie Allen.
Sure.
You know, really sitting at the feet of, you know, Gary Miller, the guy who created, you know, like First and 10, the guys who did Night Court, and, you know, I mean, all of these.
Night Court, one of my favorites.
Right. So, you know, I got to sit with all of these incredible writers, have them take me under their wing. And then you got to remember, I'm a writer in the process, learning the process on the biggest night of television history. Cosby,
Wow.
Cheers,
Oh boy,
Wings. No, what am I missing? No, Cosby, A Different World, Cheers, Wings, LA Law, Dan Rather, 40 million people. No one changes the channel. I'm entering into the business being mentored by these people. So I'm getting an opportunity to watch Halle Berry's audition. You know what I mean? I'm watching people come in, and Leela Rashan, Loretta Devine. I'm watching all of this incredible talent. And then I start writing for that talent on shows like Rock, and writing for Ben Stiller and people like that. So I really got the benefit of working in such diverse environments and having to flex my muscle in different ways.
Sure.
But I got to write for this stand-up. Okay, now I got to write this speech for myself. Okay, now I got to write this copy. Okay, now I got to try and punch up my lines in this movie because they're giving me license to do that. Right? They're encouraging me to do. Okay, oh, you're gonna let me do this? Okay, great. Right. So I was so busy as just a nerd trying to take this character and put it together and make it make sense and blah blah blah. And whomever let me do that is the people who I gravitated towards, because they let me do the thing I did, and I kind of didn't pay any attention to any of this stuff. So I never was in the acting coach process because I had the luxury of being able to have mentors and a big, massive stage. And, you know, again, I point out to people, you know, I was 21 years old, man. I was a kid.
Sure.
But, you know, I'm watching, you know, this is the last thing I'll tell you. Imagine this for a moment. I don't know where I am. Good morning, my lady. My daughter just woke up.
Oh.
Are you coming over here? Give me 1 second. I'll be done in one moment, okay? Well, I apologize.
No worries.
Good morning. I'll be right back in 1 second. Oops.
We'll let you go. I mean,
so just to wrap up. Oh my goodness, everything is ringing all of a sudden.
I apologize. We went a little over. I'm so sorry.
It's all good, man. So the point in sort of wrapping up all the madness is that Roseanne and A Different World were all in the same lot at Carsey Werner, right?
Yeah.
And they had a chef that would make the food for everybody. So when you were hanging out, I'd be hanging out with Chuck Lorre and Eddie Gordetsky and all those guys who went on to do, you know, I think they're doing Bob Agabashu now on CBS, but Dharma and Greg and 2.5 Men and all of that madness is kind of what came into their life. So wait 1 second, my lady. Wait 1 second. My daughter has joined us. But my point is that
we don't promote
coming
the
into
video,
that
so
experience and having all of that as an opportunity to learn and having all those people to learn from was like, for me, a huge part of the maturation process. So did I have acting teachers? No, but I was around all those people on set in A Different World, watching them work with people. So I feel like I got kind of something better than that.
Oh, you did.
Right? I got something kind of extraordinary and beautiful and strange. So I don't want to take credit for it as if it was all me. I kind of want to honor the people who poured love into me because I didn't, Debbie Allen treated me like I was one of her long lost children, but she treated everybody that way. So, I can't even name the number of people she mentored.
You absorbed it like a sponge.
I was nurtured and loved by a Black lady who understood, that it could be a difficult transition for a kid from South Carolina to pop up in Hollywood. And I had Susan Fales and Deborah All, and I had and I had a couple of white ladies and some black ladies and some black. I had a community of people who gave a fuck about me, man. So I was blessed in that regard coming into the business. So yeah, I'm grateful for it.
Orlando, thank you so much for doing this. I want you to have fun the rest of the day with your daughter and have a great day. Thank you. It meant the world to us.
Thank you, man. Thank you for taking the time, gents. We are out of here. We got stuff to do.
All right. Have a great day, Orlando. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Fantastic. Appreciate it.
Wow, that was the interview with Orlando Jones. Subscribe, rate, and review. Alan Lee, how was that, buddy? That was great.
Let me tell you something. I didn't know whether I wanted to. I had that question down as the one that I would use. I had 3 questions, and I said, I really want to ask him that question, and I said, my God, with all that he's done, is he going to name some, a teacher, that, my God, that answer was spectacular because it's a complete true answer. And it's fantastic advice.
Yeah.
I mean, in other words, if you look at the comics you've hung out with, Norm, Jay Moore, what's the one that, anyway, doesn't matter. All of them, Pablo, anyway, our guests. And you want to know something? I appreciate this so much because what he said, I've been able with you, my friend, to hang out with all these named people. And I'll tell you something, it's affected me.
Yeah.
It has affected me like you wouldn't believe. And
I feel like it's helped me being a better comedian and a better person just by interviews like this.
Yeah.
So, well, subscribe, rate, and review, guys. Alan, you got anything coming up or no?
Let me think for a moment. No.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
We'll see you
Reza
next week.
Riffs.
Thank you all.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee right here on LA Talk Radio.